Films don't care about you. They only care about profit. Let's talk about it. We'll most likely be talking about the blockbuster mentality when it comes to the process of filmmaking. Blockbuster mentality, defined by Barron, is filmmaking characterized by reduced risk-taking and more formulaic movies. Business concerns are said to dominate the artistic considerations. High-concept films that depend little on characterization, plot development, and dialogue are easier to sell to foreign exhibitors than more sophisticated films. Essentially, people want to see the explosions, fandoms, cameos, famous actors, then buy things that show off the fact that they've seen the movie that the company will continue to pump out. So why does this matter? What's the impact? I personally think that the impact of blockbuster mentality on filmmaking is honestly repetitive and uninspiring. What do you mean that we're gonna have dinosaur movie 487 paired with big red guy with guns for arms saving the day against robots again? These movies quickly become an awful and repetitive cycle, making the film process grating and feeling more like a business deal. This doesn't leave a whole lot of room for amazing indie films like these, especially when paired with advertising placed in movies and how conglomerates take over advertising spaces. For example, Disney Channel promoting any and every Disney thing ever. As someone who is in film and is honestly trying to make it in film, it's really discouraging that this only way I will be able to make it is by having a big corporate connection or selling my soul to the blockbuster profit machine. Which segues perfect into our next topic. Profit should not be the determining factor for a production of a movie and its contents. Filmmakers need to start having fun when they see these films that they create. As stated, I am sick and tired of seeing the girl with the weird animal sidekick that also is a marketable plush, and she has like 40 different dresses that are really cool and really sparkly, and that movie being pumped out over and over and over again. I want to see things that people make from the heart. Weird movies that don't make sense, movies that are bad and amateur and made by someone who just has a vision and a camera. Let's see more art in movies, especially when it comes to the cinematography. Sure, these action scenes I think are awesome and have a pretty creative choreography and a depth to them. But sometimes it doesn't need to be this big show-stopping pose that people get prints of and hang up in their dorm room. I think profit in the film scene, unfortunately, is needed to become a determining factor in the movie content due to literally the biggest movie producer in the world benefiting from a system like capitalism that is literally made so that you can only succeed by having money in life. I think I can also personally relate to this. One of the earliest times I remember seeing a movie with kind of this blockbuster mentality was the Han Solo movie that came out somewhere between The Force Awakens and Rise of Skywalker. I also want to say Disney had purchased Star Wars around the same time as well. Considering my dad was a pretty big Star Wars fan and had a decent opinion on The Force Awakens, we went to see Solo together in one of those big fancy movie theaters with the reclining seat. Honestly, I remember being confused at the movie. I chalked it up to not knowing much about the Star Wars franchise as a whole, but when my dad and I walked out, he mentioned something on the lines of the movie barely making sense to him in a timeline and fandom view. He stated how he felt like he just needed to roll with whatever the movie was presenting him and take it at face value. I think he even made a joke that every little creature and spaceship I saw in the movie was somehow going to end up in Target in the next month. I really think this experience was memorable for me because it really hit me how much companies like Disney are just pumping out these barely 5-second screen time creatures, ships, cameos, and stars in order to find a paycheck in them. This was also one of the first times that I had looked at a movie with a critical eye, rather than just something cool to watch, especially since I was younger. I found myself wondering why these explosions needed to happen, or even an entertaining value of the dialogue and relationships made in the movie. Overall, I am sick of seeing movies that pump out the same stuff over and over, especially from the same companies. However, I do think that we are heading in the right direction with some indie film productions like A24, New Line Cinema, and even Sony kind of dipping their foot into the water. I think movies that these companies help produce will only bring more creativity to the industry, widening what the public finds entertaining. And that's it. Make cool stuff!